right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Punt Intended podcast here on Entertainment Buddha. Be sure to check us out online, www.entertainmentbuddha.com. With me, as always, is the number nerd himself, Justin Ludwig.
Yes, the very same guy who, when at a wedding, will take the place setting of the empty seats next to him, put it on the table so he can get a second entree.
You know, that's just smart thinking.
I know. It's like, it was one of those things where I kind of spitballed the idea at the beginning of the dinner, and then as the courses started coming out, it snowballed into an idea that I actually put into action. Well, unfortunately, they got the same dishes that I did, so it was kind of more of the same, but I can't complain.
Well, it's free. It probably tasted good. I mean, wedding food's always good, so.
It was pretty good. Yeah. I also got my relationship with the hors d'oeuvre servers down to a nod. I didn't even have to say anything, just a nod.
That's the best. That's the best for sure. I know there was a couple weddings I've been to this summer where I walk up to the bar and the bartender already, has my drink going for me. So as soon as I get there, it's ready to go.
It's a magical relationship.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
it's not a bad thing.
Well, yeah, Yeah. So we're in week 10 already. Week 10 this week.
Yeah, it looks like it's a good week to pick some teasers.
I was just thinking about that. Looking at some of these spreads, there's definitely some teaser territory I would certainly consider for sure.
Oh yeah. Better load up on some cookies to put down on these games. Get yourself even more cookies.
That's the way to do it.
More cookies. Speaking of more cookies, if we were, the gambling type, you would have won more cookies than I did last week with your 6-6-1 record against the spread.
Okay.
You edged me out by one game. I was 5-7-1.
Which game did I tie, or which game did I push?
We pushed on Minnesota-Washington.
Right.
The line that we used was 3. Minnesota ended up winning by 3, and they were the favorite by 3. I wasn't too upset with that.
No.
Cortana was 9-4. So was ELO. We all kind of pooped the bed with San Diego, Miami. Apparently somebody, apparently we didn't know something.
Yeah.
ELO predicted New England, Denver. Cortana missed Denver, New England.
Okay.
But since week 5, Cortana has been selecting at an 80% success rate. Which is all right. I mean, not against the spread, but
well, right, and they're going straight winners there. So, little different game, but still interesting to keep track of for sure.
Not as high of a degree of difficulty, but I'll be humble about it. Anyway.
Yep. Anyway, let's see what we got. Thrillers and chillers next.
I did do a couple of extra tallies. The favorites were 6-6-1, and the home team was 4-8-1.
Okay, so
something to put in your back pocket. I'm not really making much of them for this particular week. I'm just something to tag along to keep in your back pocket when we're making these making these future selections. Just
one more thing to remember. When I have all this stuff, I'm trying to remember anyway.
I know. Oh, the other thing I heard. I was going backwards a couple years, and the last couple of years, the Dolphins were 4-1 or something like that against West teams coming east for the 1 or the 4 o'clock game, which apparently was a thing because when San Diego, traveled east to play Miami on the early game, they got trounced. So I should have paid more attention. It's one of those rules that you always bring up, and then I forget, and then now, of course, it came back to bite.
Well, and with San Diego. This past week, they had played Denver Thursday night the week before, so they had extra rest, and we didn't think that would...
Yeah, there's that.
And then they basically slept through the game the way they played, but...
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. All right. You want to do thrillers and chillers?
Yeah, we'll get to San Diego in a little bit. Anyway, for thrillers...
Wait, I want to guess one.
Go for it. I only have one of each this week.
Okay.
I'll explain why then.
I'm going to... Is it... I'm going to say Jeremy Hill.
I thought about it.
But you went with Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I knew it was going to be one of those two. Maybe even Macklin. But I figure since Roethlisberger had 6 touchdowns again, that's probably the safe bet there.
I considered Macklin and Hill. Who was the other guy? You could have made maybe a case for Mike Evans from Tampa Bay.
Oh, yes.
Largely what I try to do for these thrillers and chillers is try to pick somebody who kind of goes way above or way below, respectively, their projections. Roethlisberger kind of had the biggest gain. He was projected for 20, scored 39 in ESPN standards on 25 of 37 passing, 340 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He has more passing touchdowns in the last 2 weeks with 12 than he had in the previous 7 games. This is the 3rd time in his career he has strung together 2 or more 300 passing yard games. He has had over 800 yards in the last 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
and it just seems like it's out of nowhere too.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that too.
Yeah.
But for Pittsburgh, it's just like they flipped the switch. And it's so weird that it's, the beginning of the season, we kind of touted their running game as being pretty potent, but then the last couple of weeks, it's just been their passing game, which has just been unstoppable.
Right.
Unstoppable.
All right. For the chiller, I'm going to take a stab at this one here.
It's like a steel curtain of offense.
Chiller, I'm going to...
This one was pretty easy to pick.
Frank Gore?
No.
All right, then...
Kind of thought about it.
Let's see. Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Negative scoring.
Yeah.
That didn't help.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers in the nice 37-0 skunking was projected for 20, scored -3, 12 of 23 passing, 138 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a 31.0 quarterback rating. It's the only game this season he has not had a passing touchdown.
Huh. Yeah, he certainly pooped the bed last week.
Yeah, I mean... The thrillers and chillers this week were kind of a tough pick because there were a lot of guys that had really good games in terms of their fantasy points, but maybe they were projected kind of high. I mean, it seemed like people were buying into Jeremy Hill going into this game just because of Cincinnati's running situation, and he, validated that definitely. And then a lot of the guys that didn't do so well this week, it's it's not like a super surprise.
Right.
I mean, Frank Gore even hasn't been doing so well the whole season. It's not been like the typical, Frank Gore season where he kind of gets a lot of carries and, just kind of gets the ground and pound yards. This year it's been kind of, spotty with how many carries he gets a game.
Right. And
his yardage kind of reflects that.
Plus the Rams defense, at least the front line there has been pretty solid all year. So I guess it's not too surprising. He only got 49 yards on 14 carries. But
it's not much of a thriller of a week for thrillers and chillers. It's meta thriller.
One thing I was thrilled about was I thought I had adjusted my lineup before Sunday on my fantasy team, and then I realized Giovanni Bernard was still in my lineup. So I quickly picked up Jeremy Hill, who was available.
Good move. Available?
Well, again, this is my 8-team league.
Even still,
yeah,
it's kind of surprised nobody handcuffed him or something.
Yeah, I don't think that league people are too concerned about. I mean, because on an 8-team league, you have you have guys on your bench that would start in any other league. So you have to decide, like, is it worth giving up this guy who I might need at some point?
Yeah.
For another guy that's on the bench. But yeah. So fortunately that worked out for me and I won. So
yeah, Jeremy Hill right now is owned in 76.9% of leagues. That's up 24%. Looks like from the week before, so probably the end of week 8 or so.
Right.
You know what that is for you? It's some nice validation. Speaking of the Bengals, it was a nice segue by you.
Thank you.
They're all lined up to play Cleveland on Thursday night.
The Battle of Ohio.
The Battle of Ohio. Is this the battle of the bottom of the NFC or the AFC North? No, not really. That's kind of a weird division.
Yeah. I don't think nobody is under 500, I believe.
No, it is the it was the anti-NFC South until New Orleans is now 500.
Yeah.
But you kind of knew where I was going with that.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
5-2-1 versus 5-3.
Cincinnati's -6.5. I'm gonna take Cleveland.
That's fair. This is one of those I kind of had to think about it for a second, just because it seems like it's a lot of points.
It is, and that's why I feel comfortable taking Cleveland. If it was, 3.5 or 4, I might be taking Cincinnati or thinking a little bit longer about it. But Cleveland hasn't. I mean, they play tough games all year, especially against division opponents, where they have either won or they've at least kept the game really close. And I think that's something they can keep going into Thursday night.
Yep, they pretty much play to the level, except for that weird week against Jacksonville. They tend to play to the level of their opponent, and with Andy Dalton showing some inconsistency, it's. I took Cincinnati. It's largely something that's built on the pretense of the last couple of Thursday night games that we've had. The only one that hasn't been kind of lopsided was New England, New York. That only was 2 points. And then the Indianapolis, Houston, had shades of a blowout, but not quite. But it seems like for the most part, the Thursday night game has been a little lopsided.
In favor of the home team.
In favor of the home team, which in this week is Cincinnati Bengals.
So we're divided on the first game?
Yeah. Plus I figured why skew from tradition, because last week we did it. We did it with the first game.
As is tradition.
It's like the new tradition, but I guess I don't know.
We'll see if that continues before we call it tradition.
Yeah, you're right. I'm getting ahead of myself.
All right.
That's why I was 5-7-1 last week. I got ahead of myself.
Yeah, it happens.
I need to remember these little anecdotes.
We should just write these down.
Oh, it's bad quarterback. Is Brian Hoyer the bad quarterback? Is he the bad QB on the road?
Is it really on the road if it's a couple hours away?
It's the Battle of Ohio. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. I would not be surprised. Actually, I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron is there, but I have no idea if the Cavaliers are playing that night, so maybe he won't be there. But if he is there, I bet the number of times they show him on camera is... I'll set the line at 4.5. Would you take the over or under?
Oh, over.
Over?
4.5 times over the span of 60 minutes? Of a 60-minute football game? Oh, way over.
I don't know. It might be a once a quarter kind of thing.
Yeah, even if you get once a quarter and then once at halftime, that's it.
All right.
You've already got 5.
All right. Well, write that down as a side bet, and we'll see what happens.
It's interesting. I would love for that to happen just to see to see it play out.
He probably has a game or something, so he probably isn't even going to be there. But
I'm actually checking it right now.
I thought that would be interesting.
They do not.
Oh,
but they're kind of on a West Coast trip right now.
Okay, yeah.
So doesn't seem likely.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do that.
What might have been?
Yeah.
What might have been?
All right.
It would have been fun.
You know what else is fun? Kansas City at Buffalo. Kansas City's -2.5.
Can I pencil this in as my early favorite already? Well, I'm gonna.
Okay, sure. I'll allow it.
I'm taking KC. They seem pretty strong right now.
They do.
Seem pretty strong right now.
Buffalo's coming off a bye.
Mm-hmm. Which didn't seem like it helps, this year.
True.
The Giants came off of a bye. They got completely destroyed by Indianapolis. San Francisco doesn't beat St. Louis off the bye.
Yeah.
So maybe maybe it's bye for the bye.
Maybe they should just go 16 weeks, no buys. No, that's stupid. That's dumb. Why would you let me say that? I'm going to take the Chiefs as well.
Yeah, good choice.
Yeah. As well as the Bills have been playing, and Sammy Watkins and Kyle Orton and Shirley, are starting to get that chemistry going. I think the Chiefs are just too tough right now, and I think they'll be able to take care of that. Yeah, and they're, at the beginning of the season, I didn't think the Chiefs were going to be that good. I thought last year was kind of a fluke year, but they've shown that they can compete and beat the teams that the tough teams in the tough games. So, plus the Bills, obviously still without their top two running backs. So,
yeah, I was just thinking that I'm not quite sure what the Bills are going to do with their. It seems like Anthony Dixon is now their feature back, but Kansas City has a pretty tough pass defense. So it's hard to believe that the Bills can generate a lot of points when they're going to be a bit one-dimensional. Right. Especially against a team that's tough against the pass.
Yeah, and as far as the Chiefs offense goes, Jamal Charles is looking really good again this year. The last couple of weeks he's played really well.
Yeah, he has.
Alex Smith, he was never, a fantastic deep field quarterback, but he was always good at, he always had a high completion percentage, always seemed to make, the smart throws. So that certainly has its values too.
Fantastic in the definition of or relating to the game of fantasy football.
Exactly.
You know who is a huge fantasy football fan? I just found this out. Daniel Radcliffe.
Really?
Harry Potter. He loves football.
Huh.
American football.
Football.
Yeah, because I heard him talking on a podcast and he said, yeah, I really like fantasy football. And they were like, you mean like fantasy soccer? He's like, no, American football.
I would not have guessed that.
No, I wouldn't have either. But now
there goes.
File that nugget away as well.
Yeah.
So then you can surface that at the right time. It's like in the movies where they learn like that obscure fact, and then there's like some weird thing that happens.
Right.
Like later on in the movie.
Well, it's going to come up. It's going to come up at trivia night at some point. You'll be sitting there with your friends.
Who loves fantasy football? Harry Potter.
Name the English actor who loves fantasy football. Daniel Radcliffe. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Speaking of winner, winner, we have the Dolphins next up against the Lions. Detroit's -6 at home.
It's one winner, Miami. One not winner coming off the bye. Now that's something we're going to have to pay attention to, I guess. 6 points, though.
Especially the way Miami took care of San Diego last week. That seems doesn't seem quite right to me. So I'm a little skeptical of that.
See here, I'm going to turn the clock back another week. Going into week 8, the bye teams from week 7 were Philly and Tampa. Both of those teams lost. Let me see if that continues. No, it doesn't continue 1 week back because KC came off the bye, they won. But New Orleans came off the bye and they lost.
It does seem like a majority of teams coming off the bye are losing that game.
Right, it sort of holds up.
Yeah.
This one's going to be tricky, though, because there are 6 teams coming off the bye from last week, and then there are 6 teams this week who are enjoying a week off. Maybe go see Big Hero 6. I don't know. Whatever they do in their bye weeks.
Could be. But as far as the game goes, I'll take Miami.
Me too.
Their defense has been playing on, firing on all cylinders the last couple weeks. Ryan Tannehill has looked fantastic. Ever since Philbin wouldn't commit one way or the other to a quarterback, Tannehill has stepped up and proven to be the number one guy. So, and the last 3 weeks, Tannehill's averaged like almost 50 yards rushing.
Wow.
Which is, he never did before. But I guess now they're kind of like, well, just go out and play. Just go do your thing. We're not, they seem like they've stopped trying to worry about him too much or trying to ask him to do things that he's not comfortable doing. So I think it's kind of a good thing for the Dolphins, obviously.
Halfway through the season, he has 31 attempts. His previous career high was 49.
And we're halfway through the season.
So it seems like it's helping.
Yeah.
You're right. He gets quite a few yards, every once in a while he'll break off something. It's a nice option for them too, especially with Mike Wallace. Maybe they pull bootleg and just go with the deep threat.
Yeah.
But what do I know? It's not like I've never come up with great, stratagem before.
It's true.
What do I know? I'm just the guy that gets the extra entree at the wedding.
Well, somebody has to.
I know.
It's paid for. Somebody should.
It's either me or the bus boys.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of your advice giving here's Dallas at Jacksonville. Dallas is -7.
In London.
Oh, that's right. This is a London game.
London. We won't wake up for this for breakfast. No, this is a 1:00 Eastern.
That's boring.
If the schedule's correct.
That's boring.
I know. It would have been great. And it's that's four separate times we get a football game.
What's great is as we talked about before, every London game has been two teams that have been terrible. Mm-hmm. Last one was Atlanta, Detroit, which turned into an exciting game, but they were, both not good teams. And now you have Dallas, who's doing really well this year. Tony Romo gets hurt, and now London gets Brandon Weeden. Unless you've heard news on Tony. No,
we're gonna feed him Brandon Weeden.
So there you go, London. You get Bortles, Robinson, and Brandon Weeden.
Brandon Weeden, 31 years old.
Yeah, that's. I don't understand. I mean,
well, here's the poopy thing about it. Before the season, I would have been waving the flag that we, and I mean the royal we, not like we as in I'm possessive of the Cowboys. I'm just saying the royal we as football people, would be one to say that the Cowboys might need to perhaps move away from Tony Romo. Only in the sense that it seems like a commitment to him for more seasons after this is not particularly beneficial for reasons that he's already 34. He's been with the Cowboys since around 2004. And it doesn't seem like he has been able to kind of elevate to the type of quarterback that is able to take them longer into the season, as well as his ailing back problems, which, as we just saw, crept up again. So right. I kind of feel validated. But however, I guess this is kind of in a way the ultimate test, because if you can't beat Jacksonville with your A-listers minus Tony Romo, then I don't know whether you deserve to play in the NFL playoffs.
Right.
So it's kind of the ultimate tester.
True. So who are you taking?
I'm taking Dallas.
All right. Dallas, even with Brandon Weeden?
Yeah, I mean, they still have DeMarco. They still have Dez.
DeMarco, who did not get 100 yards last week for the first time all year.
Yeah, but they're playing in London this week, so if you converted that to metric, it would have been over 100, so I'm still counting it. It's not like it works.
Isn't yards already metric?
No, it's meters. Yards are in feet.
Well, yeah, I know that, but I don't know. I thought they used yards over in England.
Do they?
I thought they did. I could be wrong. I haven't been there, so I don't know.
It's first and 10 meters.
First and 11.34 meters.
That was a rounding button hook by Des Bryant as he gained 23 meters on that passing attempt.
Huzzah! Well, here's a conversation my friend and I had this past Sunday when we were watching Brandon Weeden. Brandon Weeden's the second string quarterback on the Dallas Cowboys. He might be the worst quarterback in football, but obviously he's not, because they have a third string quarterback in Dustin Vaughn. So
never heard of him.
Well, he's a rookie out of West Texas A&M. So how would if Brandon Weeden's the worst quarterback in the NFL, how does he feel as being Brandon Weeden's backup? Like, that's a conversation that my buddy and I had. We were like, really, they don't have anybody that they could put in front of Brandon Whedon, but I don't know.
Is there somebody that's not currently on a team right now? I mean, Brett Favre.
I mean,
who's not on a team right now?
I don't know, but
like a legitimate I know the trade deadline's over, so who's like a legitimate candidate?
I don't know. I didn't look into that. It just kind of, I don't know. Brandon Whedon's not good. He wasn't good in Cleveland. Obviously, they didn't have the greatest help, but even Brian Hoyer's doing better than he was with, limited options. So
JP Lossman.
Yeah, he's available.
Cole Brennan? Really?
But I mean, I don't know. It's just it was just kind of a funny conversation we were having.
There's Tim Tebow. Yeah, you're right. I
mean, they could have Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
Yeah, he's very available.
ESPN doesn't even list their third string. Must be like a practice squad kind of guy.
Yeah, I just found it on Dallas Cowboys.
You are on the practice squad of the Cowboys who tout Brandon Whedon as their second string quarterback. So everybody behind him, by induction.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just looking on DallasCowboys.com and they have him listed as Dustin Vaughn as the third stringer. So maybe
tough road.
Maybe he'll get some playing time this week. Who knows? But as far as my pick goes, I'm going to take Jacksonville. I think
I don't hate that pick.
I think 7's too high to trust Brandon Whedon with, even with DeMarco Murray. I mean, the Cardinals are good this year. They lucked out that they didn't have to face Tony Romo, so obviously it might have been a different outcome if Romo had played. But I think Jacksonville can keep it within 7. Maybe even get a win out of it.
Plus, Denard Robinson is proving to be a pretty competent feature back.
Right. Hearns was getting some catches. I think he had a touchdown or 2 last week.
He had 2. You're right.
Yeah. So they're starting to get him a little more involved again, as you had been mentioning in previous podcasts that they should do.
Yeah. If Bortles can kind of keep it together, they should be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll take Jacksonville in that one, which may be the first time all year that I took Jacksonville. If I'm not.
No, you did last week, but that was the double digit spread.
Right.
That might have been the only other time though.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember picking them too many other times. So, but yeah, then.
You did before.
All right. Good. Well, apparently I'm a liar. So. Apparently I've picked Jacksonville every week. I just don't remember. I must
just wipe it from your memory.
Yeah. Maybe I pass out during the picks. I don't know. I just wake up and the podcasts are done.
Yeah, 10 just edits the podcast, so it seems like it's pretty seamless. But there's actually like a 10-minute interlude. I get a couple of cookies, refresh my drink.
There's some elevator music playing. Back in 5 minutes.
It's the magic of radio.
Yeah,
nobody hears that part.
Well, while we're on the subject, let's give a little.
And speaking of music,
a little shout out to
New Orleans.
I was going to give a shout out to Tim Benson for producing this. Yeah, I was going to give the guy some credit.
You're right.
For making this podcast, sound good. So
very good.
Little golf clap. Thank you, Benson's. But yes, let's move on. Next, what's the next?
Yeah,
one?
we're rewarding him with Dallas and Jacksonville this week.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
There you go. Enjoy that game in London. He sounds like he's from London.
Down at the pub.
Yeah. Grab some fish and chips and a pint. What'd you say we had next? San Francisco at New Orleans. New Orleans -5.
Yep.
I will take New Orleans.
I'm fine with that too.
San Francisco obviously has some issues, and New Orleans is starting to turn things around. So I think that 5's a nice one. That's a nice one.
You know what it's kind of nice for?
A tease.
Get
New Orleans at +1.
Yeah.
Maybe
I wouldn't hate that.
Maybe tease that with Jacksonville, perhaps.
I don't know. There's a lot of There's nary a game that I could figure you could throw into a 3-team tease out of these, because the spreads are just kind of at that weird nebulous that it's
Right.
You could figure out a tease for one of them. One of the sides of the contest.
for you, since you're taking Cincinnati, you could tease that down to basically a pick 'em.
Yeah, that would be kind of nice.
Yeah. So that's an option for you.
If I were a betting man.
If you were a betting man.
If I were a betting man.
But yeah, with New Orleans, they're looking a lot better. They're looking, how I expect them to look all year. So I think San Francisco is kind of falling apart, and I think New Orleans will be able to handle things at home. They are undefeated at home, I believe. Is that right? I think so. Or did they
consult a supercomputer? Feeding in my punch card. You can't hear the punch card clicking. Out comes the result. The Saints are 3-0 at home.
3-0 at home, yeah. So I think they'll continue that, and I think they'll be able to beat San Fran by 5.
Yeah, that's fair.
Next one.
It's not fair. Tennessee at Baltimore, and we have that double-digit spread looming. Yeah. Baltimore's favored by 10.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It's a lot of respect for Baltimore.
Yeah, even after getting beat up by Pittsburgh last week.
Beat up. I wouldn't have expected that. I thought it would have been a pretty,
right.
Pretty quiet game from them.
Well, and that's how a lot of.
I was being facetious.
Well, yeah, I didn't catch that. I just don't know. This might be a teaser to get Baltimore down to 4.
See, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
10, I'm not. Yeah. So that's why I picked Tennessee. So then when I abbreviate it, it's 10. So it's 10 plus 10.
Look at that. And our producer goes by 10. So there you go.
Oh, that works.
Yeah. 10, 10, 10.
Try 10.
I should have saved the shout out for that, but that's just poor planning on my part.
He'll figure it out.
Yeah. I'll you know what? I'm going to take Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to take them at -10. I think Zach Mettenberger's not going to be able to do it. I think Baltimore's going to come out strong after last week's performance. So I think that -10. Yeah, I'll take that. Torrey Smith, he was a pickup for me in my one league, who ended up scoring some points. So I think they can build off that. Their running game hasn't been much of anything the past few weeks, but if they can,
neither is the Titans. So
well, there's a lot not going for the Titans. So at least the Ravens have Flacco. They have a decent receiving squad. They can protect him, give him time to throw. So I think that's something that'll help him out this week and get them that spread. But watch me be wrong. Watch Tennessee, lose by 9. Just watch. But all right, next up.
Yeah, but then if he teases you, you'll be all right.
Well, yeah, if I tease it. So if I tease Baltimore and New Orleans so far would be probably my 2 teases.
You would pick them?
I might.
You would take Baltimore? Yeah, that seems all right.
Yeah.
4 seems a good choice.
The next one I would certainly consider teasing.
Well, you got 3 in a row there.
Yeah. Pittsburgh at the Jets. Pittsburgh's -6.
Taking Pittsburgh.
Yeah, to Pittsburgh. I don't get how Baltimore's -10 and Pittsburgh's only -6. I mean, Pittsburgh is on the road, but even if they weren't, that would put them at around -9. Like, are the Jets that much better than Tennessee?
No, I'm trying to figure this out. Maybe they just feel like the Jets are kind of frisky. I mean, they are still putting out Michael Vick, who, I mean, he had a pretty good game, I guess. 21 of 28, 196, no interceptions.
Yeah.
Either passing game kind of.
But the Jets are 1-8. Titans are 2-6.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard to imagine that this Steelers offense is going to be so consistently just ripe with points. I mean, the last 3 weeks, 43, 51, 30.
Well, they have such a good receiving core that's finally gelling. Like they always had Antonio Brown, who's been playing out of his mind all year.
Yeah.
But now they have Martavis Bennett, who's finally getting into the flow of things and becoming a threat. And they still have Marcus Wheaton, who's also a threat. So all three of their receivers are big play downfield threats.
Marcus Wheaton.
And then they still have Le'Veon Bell, who's, one of the better running backs in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So even though Steelers defense isn't what it was, they've been plagued with injuries and had to bring James Harrison out of retirement. I don't know. I just think Pittsburgh will be too much for the Jets this week.
Meadowland. I guess if you're Big Ben, you go out for pizza.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like you go for some New York style.
Well, technically the stadium is in New Jersey. So what's a traditional Jersey treat?
White Castle.
White Castle, and where is that? Cherry Hill.
Yeah, there's a few locations.
All right. So Ben's gonna go out for some White Castle, and then he's gonna play the Jets, who are 1-4 at home, and beat them by a touchdown. And
Sounds like a pretty nice Sunday.
And the extra point. So that's it for that one.
Unless they botch the extra point again.
That would suck. There's one touchdown and the score finishes 6-0.
All right, gonna make this spread. Oh no! They botched the PAT snap.
Everybody rips up their tickets. Cookies get lost.
They throw their terrible brick at the television. That's a thing. Like the towel, they have a brick. Then when they have like a bad call or something, it's like a foam brick you just throw to the television. So then nothing happens.
And then television sales in Pittsburgh have gone way up.
Yep. Oh, we were supposed to throw a foam brick? Oh.
Next up, speaking of bricks, we got Falcons at Buccaneers.
So here's oh boy.
Atlanta
1.5.
Atlanta minus 1.5.
Yeah.
Who are you taking?
I'm taking Atlanta, but it's just such a weird line. I mean, it's 2-6 hot Atlanta, or tepid now, cold Atlanta, versus the 1-7 Buccaneers.
Here's something. There's something to think about. The Falcons are 0-4 on the road. The Bucs are 0-4 at home.
Oh boy!
So what should happen is this game should end in a tie.
I was gonna say they should just tie.
Yeah.
Why give anybody the benefit?
They should have just made this a pick'em. Really. I mean, it basically is, but. Yeah, I'm gonna take Tampa.
Really? Why?
Because you picked Atlanta.
Yeah.
No, I mean there really isn't. This game is a game that I hope is on the far left TV screen.
I don't even have to ask you. You just went right for it.
When I'm watching the games and my friends and I sit kind of, there's a wall of TVs. My friends and I sit kind of in the middle, more towards the right. There's always that one game on the far left that, we can't really see. And fortunately, it's been a game that, nobody really cares about. So I'm hoping that's the game that's on that TV, if it's televised at all. But, I mean, I think the Buccaneers, they had their shining moments here and there with Mike Evans like they did last week. I'm just hoping they can build on that. Really is really all that I'm going for. And Atlanta's been playing terrible, so I'm just hoping Tampa Bay.
The last game they played was that pooper across the pond.
Right.
Weird line. I don't even want to touch this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from it.
I'm gonna tease myself with a teaser.
Yeah.
Just stay away.
That's the best bet for everybody.
The best bet is no bet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
The only winning move is not to play war games.
Yeah, I mean, Bucks put up 17 against Cleveland last week. Glennon had 206 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans had 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, if they can keep getting him the ball and keep him involved, and, Rainey rushed for 87 yards on 19 touches last week, so that's, a fairly solid day for that, for him. So I think that's something they can build on and at least keep it a close game against Atlanta, unlike the one earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
But what do I know?
What do I know?
Yeah.
I certainly don't know what's going to happen in the next one when Denver travels to Oakland, where they'll be favored. The Broncos are favored by 12 points.
Does that let's see. Oh, that Falcons.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, that's the last
That's
one.
the last early game.
Yeah. So you have your favorite picked out?
I guess Dallas Jacksonville still counts because we'll see it at 1, but it'll be later there, so it'll be some sort of like digital time travel.
But if it's the same time here and later over there, and we're watching it here, and then there's the West
tomorrow there.
Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
So they should give me the Mega Millions numbers now. Oh wait, I can't get tickets anymore. It's too late. Yeah, my favorite's KC Buffalo.
Yeah, I like that game a lot. That game should be really good. I also think Dolphins Lions will be a good game to watch. The way the Dolphins have been playing, and Detroit's 6-2, but it's a sketchy 6-2.
Yeah.
They haven't been playing to the level everyone had expected them to be. Especially, I mean, granted, Calvin Johnson's been out a few weeks, but yeah. So yeah, I'd say those two are my two early games of the week to watch.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Yeah. All right. Well, then let's move on here. You had mentioned Broncos at Raiders. Broncos are
Raiders
minus 12 on the road.
12 on the road.
Sheesh.
The thing to remember is Oakland covered last week.
Right.
They did. The road in Seattle. But that was, what was that, like 15? 15. Lost by 6.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Raiders. I just think the spread's too high. I don't like that minus 12.
Nope. I don't either. That's why I also took the Raiders.
Yeah.
Because that's that double-digit bugaboo.
Yeah.
I got bit by it last week.
Yeah,
One time? No, 2 times. Every time I went okay. I went with the double-digit points, and I got burned both times I did. And then when I went with the underdog, I went half and half, so it was still beneficial to take the underdog.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying. That's the crux of my ramble.
Yeah, the points when they're that high, your best bet's probably to go with the underdog. Take the points.
Both teams are 4-4 against the spread.
You could tease that to plus 18. That's a possibility.
That's the better question.
Or you could tease it the other way. You could tease the Broncos down to minus 6.
Oh, I'd take that.
Yeah. That would certainly be an option as well.
But it's like the 18. It's like there should be like a contest that you have, not unlike the Super Contest, but you have to bet up the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess, that might not always work though.
Yeah.
They all get trounced, but
yeah,
part of the game, I guess.
I would certainly consider teasing Denver to minus 6.
Yeah,
for sure.
Head scratcher though.
Yeah,
but I'm dabbling in hypotheticals that I shouldn't be dabbling in.
And the weather in Oakland's going to be a lot nicer than it was in New England for Peyton Manning. So,
oh yeah, that weather's going to be weather.
Yeah, the weather outside is weather.
Yep, 75 and clear at O.co Coliseum.
home of the Oakland A's and the Raiders.
For now.
Yeah, for now. Next up we have...
Speaking of for now.
Yeah, speaking of for now, we have Rams at the Cardinals. Cardinals are, what are they? -7.5.
It's the battle of the team currently in St. Louis versus the team formerly of St. Louis.
But St. Louis still has a team named the Cardinals.
That's right.
Just in a different sport.
Oh, boy, the parallels.
What are you taking? Who are you taking?
Arizona.
You're taking Arizona?
Yeah, Carson Palmer looks pretty good.
He does. I like the way the Rams played against San Francisco though last week. Rams had 6 sacks coming into the game. They had 8 yesterday. 8 in one game when they had 6 coming in. I think the Rams defense does enough to keep them close. So I'm taking the Rams. I think that 7.5's a little.
If it were lower, you'd side with Arizona.
This might be a teaser for Arizona.
Would be a good teaser.
Get it down to 1.5.
So you like St. Louis by 7.5, but you wouldn't be dissuaded,
right?
By teaser.
If I were to do such a thing as tease the game, I would tease the Cardinals down to -1.5.
So you've already got like 4 or 5. You can make a couple of combinations of these.
Yeah. I don't want to get too crazy though.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Cross that bridge when you get there.
Yeah, I think even though the Rams are 3-5, Cardinals are obviously better. Cardinals
obviously better.
Cardinals have been impressive this year, but some of their wins seem a little inflated. Obviously last week, like I said earlier, they played against Brandon Weeden instead of Tony Romo, so that might have changed things a bit. They beat the Eagles off of a bye, which seemingly everybody loses off a bye, but yeah, and then Oakland too. So I think the Rams can keep it close. So I'm gonna take them at the -7.5, or excuse me, they're getting +7.5.
Yeah, I guess their most impressive win was when they beat San Diego in Week 1, but I don't know. In retrospect, maybe that isn't so impressive.
Yeah, San Diego was great the next 4 or 5 weeks, but the last couple of weeks they've been in a downward spiral.
Not quite as charged up.
No, not quite as super as they were earlier in the year. When I guess they heard I picked them to win the Super Bowl, and now they're laying over. But no, you know what? They're just biding their time. They're just getting players healthy, and then they're going to make a run at the right time. That's
the long con.
Yeah,
I see you.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Playing the long game.
Yeah. They know there's some cookies involved, so they're trying to play it smart. But
not a race.
Yeah, it's a marathon, but people still run. Either way. Next up, what do we have? Giants at Seahawks. Yes,
the football Giants.
Giants at the Seahawks. Seahawks are -9.5.
Don't like that 9.5.
No,
don't like it. No,
too high.
Too high.
So you're taking the Giants?
Yeah, I mean, if I could tease Seattle down to a 3.5, then I still don't know.
Yeah,
just like Seattle's just been too shaky.
Yeah, they have. I mean, the Giants haven't been great either, but I don't like that 9.5 either. I'm taking the Giants.
Yeah,
I'm taking the Giants. They lost by 16 to the Colts this past week, but the Colts offense is much better than Seattle's. Seattle's defense isn't as good as it was last year. The home field advantage isn't that much of an advantage this year.
It's a no advantage.
Yeah. So I think the Giants will. I mean, that's close enough to a double digit spread that I'm concerned. So I'm going to take the Giants at +9.5.
The Giants are still capable of scoring points. I mean,
right.
If you remove their goose egg against Philadelphia, they can, the first 2 weeks they scored 14, and then after that, the lowest they scored is 21.
Right.
So it's not like they can't score. It's just they're not quite a consistent team.
Right.
But that 9.5, you're right. Too high. Too high. Too hard.
Which makes me wonder if Vegas knows something we don't.
Oh, God. You're right. There's a reason that this is 9.5.
Well, yeah.
But chance of rain. So if it rains in Seattle, maybe that's what they're thinking.
Could be.
If it's like a crap weather game, then Eli can't pass. But then they have to rely on the rushing, which sucks.
Yeah. But this isn't a game that, the one team you expect to be the underdog is actually the favorite, like that Packers Saints game the other week. Like that was a game we were both like, "What? That's stupid." Packers were +1 in New Orleans.
You're right. We did say that.
Yeah, and look what happened with that. But I don't think this is one of those games.
Maybe they figured because Seattle is 2 games behind Arizona and they have kind of a tough next slate of games that they figured that this is kind of like a must-win.
Right. That could
They'll
be.
be out in full brunt. Because after this, it's at Kansas City, home versus Arizona, at San Fran, home against the Eagles. Or no, at the Eagles, San Fran, Arizona, St. Louis. That's kind of a tough slate.
Yeah.
Like maybe they figured that when they go against the Giants, they need to get this game.
Yeah, and I think Seattle will win, but that 9.5 is just too high.
Yeah.
Too high. Yeah. But next up we have NFC North Division rivalry game. We had the 3-5 Bears against the 5-3 Packers. Packers are -7.5.
See, my rule of thumb was always betting the Bears when they're the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
And that largely worked until I vehemently went against it when they played the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're coming off the bye, but so is Green Bay.
So there's that. I'm taking Green Bay.
I'm picking the Packers.
Yeah, I'm taking them too. And this could be another. You could tease this one too. Get this to -1.5.
I don't know. I'm a little weary since they're both coming off the bye. It's kind of
what they're both going to lose.
It's not impossible. No, it's just hard to imagine how they're going to play. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, it seems like he's kind of, passing like he normally does, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, the Bears have the talent. They've just been so inconsistent this year.
Inconsistent.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm going to take the Packers.
Let's see. It's a Sunday night. Weather say. Ooh, it's going to be chilly.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that matters for these teams, though, for Chicago and Green Bay.
Yeah, you're right. They're used to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's unknowns. It's too many unknowns.
Yeah, and at least for a little while, the Bears were better on the road than they were at home. I think all their wins have been on the road this year. They're 3-2 on the road. 3-2 on the road. Against division rival. Packers are 3-0 at home.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the Packers will be able to take care of business on Sunday night.
Well, you seem pretty comfortable with that teaser, so.
Yeah. We'll see how comfortable I am Sunday night when I'm clenching my fist at the TV. But we'll see.
Do the Sunday night games always play on all the TVs? Or do they put I don't know, like a stock ticker on one of the the far TV?
No, usually what I do is I actually leave either at halftime or at the end of the 4:00 games, and then I'm home for the night game.
Oh, I got it. One TV, one game, just dialed in.
Yeah, that's all I need to worry about.
Belly full of wings and beer, just dial in for the final game.
Little chicken ranch wrap,
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Next night game, Monday, we have Panthers at the Eagles. Eagles -6. Go.
How do you feel about that?
At -6?
Yeah, just Philadelphia situation
with Mark Sanchez.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of Sanchez. I wasn't a fan of him when he was at USC. I laughed at him when he was in New York because he was terrible. He had the butt fumble, which in my opinion is one of the greatest plays, right up there with the immaculate reception.
Do you think they throw Barkley in there?
No. I mean, Sanchez
is their guy.
Yeah, and he showed last week that he could step in and they didn't miss a beat, which means Chip Kelly has a fantastic system in place.
The system's good, but it's just, is Mark Sanchez the type of guy that can just swap in there?
Well, that the very first play, he threw a deep ball downfield to Macklin, I think, and showed that he can step in and take the chance like that. But
he also threw 2 picks.
Well, he did. I was just doing some research on Foles. His collarbone's broken, busted. He doesn't need surgery, but he's pretty much out for the rest of the season, like 6 to 8 weeks. So that would be an interesting conversation piece to have when he's ready to return, and when the Eagles are gearing up for the playoffs. But
see, here's what I'm zeroing in on is that Sanchez's career high for rushing attempts is 37. Last game he had 5. Now, I'm not one to extrapolate.
Yes,
I am, but essentially my thesis is that I don't know whether he's not a mobile quarterback, but the type of quarterback that is able to be kind of alert in the pocket and run an option.
Right.
I don't know that's quite up his alley.
Well, if you look at his time in New York, there was a lot of plays where he didn't have much time to throw. There was a lot of times where he had to kind of scramble around and, try and extend the play. But at least with the Eagles, they have Evan Mathis should be back this week. Todd Harriman's did go out, and I believe he's out for the rest of the year. But with Mathis coming back, that'll help with their protection, for the quarterback. So I think he'll be okay. I'm still not a big fan of him, but that's just my previous bias coming out. But and I was also reading reports about how Nick Foles' future with the Eagles was kind of in doubt anyway because he was drafted by Andy Reid. As soon as Chip Kelly took over, he restructured Michael Vick's deal to keep Michael Vick there. It almost makes it sound like Chip Kelly doesn't want Foles to be the quarterback of the future for the Eagles. So here, let's play a little game. Close your eyes. Closed.
And imagine that Nick Foles goes down with a broken collarbone, and the backup is Charlie Batch.
Oh.
Because according to Football Reference, Charlie Batch is a good proxy for Mark Sanchez in terms of career trajectory.
Yeah. I mean, and Charlie Batch had some seasons here and there where he was actually, played really well and was a really competent quarterback. And I'm not saying Mark Sanchez can't do that. I'm just saying I'm not really I'm not going to go out and buy his jersey. You know what I mean? If the Eagles name him the starter for the rest of this year, next year, the immediate future, I'm not rushing out to buy his jersey. But one of my buddies on Sunday, we were talking about how if Oakland ends up getting the first pick in the draft, if the Eagles try and trade up for that to draft Marcus Mariota from Oregon, who played for Chip Kelly and who's a Heisman candidate this year and could do some really, really good things at Chip Kelly's system. But I don't know. I find it hard for something like that to actually happen.
It's a big gamble if they would.
Yeah, well, it is, but you look back too, like, when's the last time a team traded its first overall pick? Like, I don't remember in recent memory teams doing that. So they'd have to put together a really good package that, if Oakland was the team to get that pick, they couldn't turn down. But I don't know. We're getting way ahead of ourselves. It's
there's
November.
an easy answer.
The draft's not till April of next year, so there's a lot to happen between now and then. But I'm going to take Philadelphia. Going back to the picks here.
Yeah, I am too.
Philadelphia at home, prime time. Carolina is just too up and down for me. They don't seem to have everything together right now. The good thing is they have Kelvin Benjamin, who's a solid rookie receiver. Probably should win Rookie of the Year. But I don't think they have much else to stop that Eagles offense. Unless, Mark Sanchez runs into somebody's butts again. But, who's to say?
Yeah. I mean, if Sanchez can fill in adequately into this system, then they'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And with Mathis coming back.
But that's just the unknown.
Yeah. And with Mathis coming back, that should help the rushing game as well. And hopefully LaShawn McCoy and Darren Sproles can return to form and get some good yards on the ground.
Yep.
But I don't know. We'll see. That's why they play the games, right?
Oh, I feel like there's such a... I'm trying to figure out this draft question. I know, I'm kind of doing this in the background, trying to figure this out. I don't...
Well, who's your favorite late game? You only have a few to choose from.
I mean, Chicago Green Bay kind of has the prestige.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely the rivalry there.
Oh, Eli. Duh.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, and that was because he didn't.
That was kind of after the fact. That I don't know
and
that
he didn't want to
counts.
play for San Diego, so he kind of forced that trade. Yeah,
That's it.
but yeah, I would say I would probably say that Bears Packers game or even the Rams Cardinals game I think should be really good too.
Yeah,
That'd be a good game to watch. Two good defenses going up against each other. That over under is 43.5. That might be an under game if you're inclined to do such a thing.
Seems like a good tease. Oh, you could tease that down.
Yeah, certainly could.
Ripe with possibility.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps it up for this week's pick. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I don't.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck with your picks this week, ladies and gentlemen, and enjoy the games. And be sure to check us out at entertainmentbuddha.com. Tomorrow is New Comic Book Wednesday. Justin, you have a few to highlight here this week?
Superman Unchained finale. Scott Snyder and Jim Lee. The classic, great Superman title comes to an end with issue 9. Marvel Axis goes to act number 2, Inversion, issue number 4.
There you go. Plenty of comic reading to choose from. Our editor Matt also recently watched Interstellar, the new Christopher Nolan movie, and did a review about that, which is up and ready.
Oh, I'm interested. I need to read that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. He said it's definitely not what he expected, which I always like to hear in those types of movies. So, and you yourself have your Gotham review up as well from this week's episode.
Oh, when we were watching the games on Sunday, they played the Interstellar trailer and they were showing Matthew McConaughey, and I just said I was riding rocket ships before they even paid me to ride rocket ships. We laughed and laughed.
That's a good one. I like that one. I like that. Did you see Jim Carrey's SNL skit?
That was pretty good.
Matthew McConaughey. I like that. That was good.
It looks like a little booger I'm just rolling around on my finger. Gonna toss it out the window.
So sometimes you got to take a step back to move forward, like from winning an Oscar to doing car commercials.
Nailed it.
Good times. All right, well, that'll do it for us. As always, you can follow us and tweet at us on Twitter. Handle is no punt intended. That's no punt, the number 10 DED. Send us your questions, concerns, favorite cookies, favorite picks, whatever. We're always available for it. So until then, or until next week, enjoy yourselves and good cookies for everyone.